Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are at the John Murtha Johnstown Cambria County Airport here in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, where President Trump will be delivering remarks here at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. My name is Alex Caldwell, and here with me is
Liz Willis.
And our very special guest today, Mr.
Scott Pressler.
We are very, very happy to have him here with us today. Now, we are in Pennsylvania. It is a big swing state, 20 electoral votes. Likely, whoever wins Pennsylvania, the winner of the election. Now, today, Governor Tom Wolf said that we can't have rallies and events outside need to be 250 people or less, unless it is a peaceful protest, because Governor Wolf marched with Black Lives Matter supporters, so we must be allowed to do that if it's a peaceful protest. So today, we're going to be referring to this event as a peaceful protest. Do you think that's all right, Scott?
Absolutely. This is a peaceful protest, and I love that President Trump and the campaign actually hand out that campaign material at these rallies.
It is fantastic. It is very exciting. And actually, last night, President Trump had a peaceful protest yesterday in Florida, and we actually beat all of the mainstream media in online streaming, despite not being listed in the YouTube search results. So congratulations to everybody who was at that one yesterday. We had over 130,000 views. And Scott, what was your wish today? What were you telling me?
Oh, I want to break that record. And I know a lot of people are watching from Twitter, lots of my Facebook, Instagram, Parler fans. So guys, tune in to Right Side Broadcasting and help me achieve my goal of breaking the RSBN record.
That's fantastic. What a fantastic
goal. You were the original record holder.
Well,
and then Liz beats you, and then I'm swooping in. I'm swooping.
So it's fine.
You guys are hurting. You're hurting my ego very badly right now. So I'm going to pass it off to you right now.
Okay.
Talk a little bit to us about what you expect to see at this rally and what you hope that President Trump will talk about a little bit. So
thank you,
Pressler.
Well, thank you, Right Side Broadcasting. First, I want to tell everybody a little bit about me and my story, how I got started. You know, I want to give honor to President Obama, because President Obama was the one who got me started on this adventure. I created my Twitter account the day that he was re-elected in 2012. But I wasn't mad at President Obama. I was actually mad at myself. I pointed the finger back at me and I said, where were you knocking on doors and registering voters and making phone calls and soliciting contributions? So I told myself, you need to get involved and start volunteering. In 2013, I started volunteering for the Republican Party of Virginia. And quite frankly, I fell in love with it. And I fell in love with people like you. And I decided in 2014 that was going to be the year that I get my first political job. So I applied all across the country to states like Texas and Maine. And these were candidates that I thought were more Tea Party, more conservative, you know, not rhinos like John Kasich in Ohio. And within 3 days of applying to Texas, I got a call back. And this was to work to elect Governor Greg Abbott, which is why you always see me in my Texas cowboy boots, proudly repping my adopted state of Texas. So I moved down there in 2014, packed up my entire life into my car, and that was my first ever political job. Then I knew how important it was to take back the White House, and I wanted to do everything within my power to defeat Hillary Clinton and make sure that she never got power back and resumed office in the White House. So I moved back to Virginia, spent 2 years of my life working to defeat Hillary Clinton, and now you see I'm on this mission. I am here for one reason, and that is to re-elect President Donald Trump on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. Now I have to give a shout out to President Trump as well, because President Trump, very much like President Obama, inspired me, but in a different way. You see, President Trump talked about the city of Baltimore, and we'll say kind of ungraceful terms. You know, he could have tweeted out something a little bit better about the city. But I noticed very similarly that nobody was taking action. Nobody was doing anything to solve the problem of trash in Baltimore. And I tweeted out to my followers and said, okay, I'm going to Baltimore, even if it's me standing on a street corner picking up trash. And I didn't realize what I had done because then all of these people wanted to help. And I was like, uh-oh, because I studied criminal justice in school. I did not study waste management and sanitation. So within 6 days, we organized a cleanup in Baltimore, one of the most dangerous and dirtiest cities in the country, and a place where people are often shot in West Baltimore. And we picked up 12 tons of trash in 12 hours in one day. One day. And it was monumental. And actually, it was really interesting because Baltimore, the Baltimore Sun, criticized me for picking up trash. They criticized me for coming into their town to offer love, to offer a hand up, to offer help. And they questioned my motives. And I went home to my ma after the trash cleanup. And I said, Ma, I'm really good at picking up trash. And I decided that I wanted to take this nationwide and that we don't have to wait for the federal government to do things for us. We need private citizens. We need communities to come together as a team and to do the work ourselves. And that's what we've done. You know, you guys say to me all the time, you say, Scott, one person can't make a difference. One vote doesn't matter. And I'm here to tell you that one person can help change the world. And in 1 year's time, we've organized cleanups in Austin, Atlanta, Baltimore, Chicago, Denver, Duquesne, Houston, Kenosha, Los Angeles, Miami, Milwaukee, Portland, Pittsburgh, Philly, and I was even protested for picking up trash in San Francisco, California. Eat your heart out, Nancy Pelosi. But I want people to understand that this movement is what you make it. And I believe that we are making this movement a movement based on love. And the best way that you show love is through your actions, not words. And so while the Democrats give us platitudes, and while the Democrats pander, you have presidents like Donald Trump, who when they make a promise, they keep it. And like myself, when I say I'm going into a city to clean it up, well, we get the job done. So my story, I started off as a dog walker, and I was invited a year ago into the White House. President Trump invited me for the social media summit, and guys, it was the coolest gosh darn moment of my entire life. And ladies, to you at home that are watching, I even flat ironed my hair. So you know I was meaning business. I was about to see our man. And so I'm walking into the East Room. By the way, Hillary Clinton is still hanging up in a photo portrait in the White House to this day. I think that President Trump is kind of like trolling her secretly to this day. But I'm walking in and all of our heroes are there. Donald Trump Jr., Kimberly Guilfoyle. I'm sitting behind Dan Bongino. I know. I could breathe on him, but that was pre-COVID. You know, pre-COVID, I can't do that anymore. And so David Harris Jr. is asking our president a question on the right side of the room, and I was on the left. And something in the back of my head, it told me, Scott, he's going to turn his head to the left. So I kind of had my arm like this. I was a race car driver, ready to go. President Trump started to turn his head, but first his hair moved a little bit, and I shot up my arm like a dang lightning bolt. President Trump, guys, pointed at me. The most powerful man in the entire world was locking eyes with me for 2.3 seconds. So remember how my story started off inspired by President Obama, and I was a dog walker. Well, I like to think of my life as I started off in the doghouse and I ended up in the White House. Now I'm traveling the country, I'm picking up trash in America's most dangerous and dirtiest cities, and I'm also registering new voters. Now you guys may wonder, why is a Virginian going outside the Commonwealth of Virginia into the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania? I'm here for a very specific reason, because I've done the math, and the math tells you that we win Pennsylvania, Donald Trump is reelected President of the United States. And I mean this as respectfully as possible, but looking at the math, we could lose Minnesota, Virginia, Wisconsin, Michigan, and as long as we win Pennsylvania, Donald Trump is reelected and continues on as 45th President of the United States. And that's why I'm here. As you can see, look behind me. We are still hours out from this rally in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and a county that has flipped Republican in voter registration. And we are already filling in. We are already filled up. Look at the crowd. And we've got young, old. The majority seems to be women here today. Women for Trump are a big part of President Trump's coalition, and especially here in Pennsylvania. Now, I want to talk about voter registration for a second, because the single most important thing that we can do to re-elect President Trump is to register to vote at your current address. Now, the reason why I say current is because if you moved from Florida to Pennsylvania and I ask you, are you registered to vote? Well, you may say, yes, I'm registered to vote, but in Florida. I have to say, are you registered to vote at your current address? And then if you are also military, have you changed your name? Are you a college student? Because think about this. If you live in California, but you're going to school in Pennsylvania, you can register to vote here in Pennsylvania, and you can use your student ID to vote. You don't need a driver's license. You can use your student ID, and your vote in Pennsylvania is more powerful. You will have more of an impact in Pennsylvania than California. Now, guys, the cutoff for voter registration is October 19th. That means that we have until October 19th to register new voters. Now, what do? Well, number one, you can go to votespa.com. Again, that's votes, P as in Paul, A as in Apple.com, and register to vote online. But that's only that if you have a driver's license for Pennsylvania. If you do not have a driver's license, then what I need you to do is type in Pennsylvania voter registration application. You need to print it out, fill it out, sign it, date it, and you're going to mail it in. Mail it in to your county. So if you're in Allegheny County, you mail it there. If you're in Philly, if you're in Cambria, make sure it goes to your respective county. That's very important. And it has to be postmarked by October 19th to count for this election. We want to make sure that every voter is empowered, not disenfranchised. Now, there are also other important voter registration opportunities, because today is the cutoff for Maryland, New Jersey, Oregon, Virginia, and West Virginia. So if you have yet to update your current address, I want you to please go online and register to vote. The same thing applies. If you do not have a driver's license, then you need to print out the form and mail in the form. It must be postmarked today, so don't just put it in the mail. I want you to drive to your nearest post office and make sure that it's postmarked. That's very important to make sure that your vote counts in this election. Now, if you live in Arizona, the voter registration has actually been extended until the 23rd of October. Arizonans extended until October 23rd. Now, the Democrats have extended it, but this is actually a very good thing for us. So if you guys are at home and you're wondering, Scott, what's going to happen? How are we doing in this election? Is Donald Trump going to win? Well, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to be a close election. It is going to be razor thin, and it's going to come down to every single vote. Now, to make you feel a little bit better, we are doing exceptionally well with the Republican Party in Arizona, North Carolina, Florida, and Pennsylvania. Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. And what we've done is in 4 years' time, we've actually cut down the Democrat voter registration advantage, and we've cut it down. For example, in Florida, it's actually below 200,000 now. And to give you an idea, I believe in 2008, fact check me, it was over 600,000 that the Democrats had an advantage in voter registration. So the reason why for the last 2 years I've traveled to 22 states teaching voter registration, going from coast to coast. And let me tell you, in the month of September, I went to Georgia, Nebraska, California, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, New Hampshire, and Maryland. I went to 9 states in September. I'm giving it my all because I believe in President Trump, and I will do everything legally within my power to make sure that he is re-elected. And that's why I taught those voter registration trainings, because voter registration wins elections, plain and simple. So if you are at home wondering what you can do to help, you can register to vote, and you can encourage your friends, your neighbors, everybody that you know to register to vote at their current address. Then you can make a plan to vote. It's not good enough to just register. You see, President Obama, he was a great community organizer. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean that, quite frankly, he was good at community organizing. And so when you register somebody, you need to follow up with them, and you need to mobilize them and push them to the polls. So, do they have a ride to the polls? Do they need to request an absentee ballot? Do they have an ID or a utility bill? Do they know where their polling location is? Do they know when the polls open and close? These are all very important questions that you have to ask the voter that you just registered in order to ensure that they actually become an empowered voter and go to the polls on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020, and help to re-elect President Trump and our entire Republican ticket from top to bottom. Now, here in Pennsylvania, I want to talk for a second about a rock star in Allegheny County, which is the surrounding Pittsburgh area. His name is Sean Parnell. Now, this is an opportunity for us to flip the seat from blue to red. Currently, it is held by Democrat opponent. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to give him any airtime, but this is one of the 18 seats that President Trump needs to flip the House from blue to red. Because just like it's not good enough to register a voter, we have to mobilize them, it's not good enough to just re-elect President Trump. We need a Republican majority in the Senate, and we need a Republican majority in the House. That means that magic number of 18. So listen up across the country. I want to go over some seats that we can flip strategically from blue to red. Sean Parnell, PA 17. In the Atlanta suburbs, we want Karen Handel. That's Georgia's 6th district. And California, you guys say to me all the time, guys, they overlook us. Guys, that California is just too far blue. And I want everyone at home to hear me loud and clear. There is hope for California, and we have the numbers. If we got everybody registered to vote that is a conservative or a Republican or libertarian, we could flip the state of California red. But it takes mobilizing and activism and organizing like President Obama did. So let's talk about Southern California. There are several seats that we can flip from blue to red. You have Greg Ratz we need to support, Brian Marriott for Congress, Young Kim for Congress. You also have in Modesto, Dr. Ted House. I actually went up to California. I made several trips. We did a cleanup in Turlock, California, and we cleaned up an abandoned homeless camp. You see, one thing that I want to talk about for a second, that is Democrat hypocrisy is look at Los Angeles, look at Baltimore, look at Houston, look at Kenosha, which was just burned to the ground. While Democrats are destroying cities, and while Democrats talk about being green and being environmentally conscious and wanting to protect the planet, then why don't Democrats, if they truly care about the environment, why don't you start, and I mean this very respectfully, clean up Baltimore, clean up Los Angeles, clean up the tent cities. And where is Greta? Greta, if you are an environmental activist, then why, instead of telling people what to do, are you not helping us pick up trash? You come into our country and you tell us how dare you, and you tell us how we should live our lives, but you're never stick around long enough to actually help clean up our cities. So anybody at home that is actually green conscious and green friendly, then when I continue my cleanups in 2021 and beyond, then I ask you at home to join me, and I will be announcing the cities that I will be going to next. So in addition to Dr. Ted House in Modesto, California, there's a great candidate for blue to red. His name is Buzz Patterson. Buzz Patterson in Sacramento, California. This is a seat that we can win. This is a seat that is flippable, and this is a seat that can help President Trump accomplish his mission of making America great again. Now, let's also go to some other seats that we can win. In Florida, you have Anna Paulina. This is a seat that we can flip from blue to red that's currently held by Charlie Crist, who is himself a flip-flopper that has gone from Republican to Democrat. I don't know what he thinks he is anymore. But we need to support Anna Paulina running for Congress. New Hampshire, I believe New Hampshire, based on the numbers, based on the voter registration, based on the activism, we can see New Hampshire flip from blue to red and historically support President Donald Trump. And I have a contact. If you at home are watching and live in New Hampshire and are saying, Scott, I want to get involved, I want to be a part of the team, I want you to slide into my DMs and write me, I want to help in New Hampshire. I've got a great guy. His name is Dylan. I will connect you with him as an organizer. All I need is your first name, last name, email address, telephone, and zip code. And I promise, and just like our president, promises made, promises kept, when I say something, I do it. I will get you connected. Also, if you live in Kenosha, if you live in Milwaukee, if you live in Florida, in Tampa, I've got a great organizer in Tampa that I can get you connected with as well. This is our opportunity, guys. This is our chance to leave a legacy, a historic legacy for our children, because I'm not just thinking 4 months or 4 years ahead. I am thinking 40 years ahead. And that's why I voted in 2016 for President Donald Trump. And that's why I voted early and in person in Virginia to re-elect President Trump, because we are on the verge of getting a third Supreme Court seat filled. Imagine that in 4 years, President Trump is about to get a third Supreme Court justice. And guys, I'm all about it. We're about to tilt forever for the next 40 years. A conservative majority in the Supreme Court. We're about to get a historic 6-3, well, depending on how Roberts votes, but we'll at least have a strong conservative 5-4 majority. And that is President Donald Trump's legacy. And his legacy is in the courts, because people don't understand how important these judges are. These judges are lifetime appointments. So you're not just voting for Congress. You're not just voting for the president. You are voting for lifetime appointments to federal court and to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. And we saw how President Obama's appointments, one judge could overturn things like President Trump wanting to give us safety and security, making sure the people coming into our country don't want to harm us. So those judges and judgeships are so critically important to our success and making America great again. Now, guys, let's take it back for a second. Let's go over some historical data. Let's go over some voter registration. So based on the math, you guys always ask, why Pennsylvania? Why are you so keen on winning Pennsylvania for Donald Trump? Well, I believe we're looking really good in Florida. And the reason why I think we're looking so good in Florida is because of voter registration. We flipped county after county from blue to red, and that's since 2016, meaning that these voters are proud of President Donald Trump's successes. They are proud of President Trump's accomplishments that he's done in 4 years, and they want to give him another 4. So Florida, I believe we're looking very strong. North Carolina, I think we're looking strong. And Arizona, I'll be real with you. For some time, I have been watching the polls, and I got myself, even me, into thinking that we weren't doing well in Arizona because I was watching the fake news polls. Well, I'm here to tell you that our voter registration in Maricopa, Arizona, which is the most populous county, we are doing phenomenally well with Republican voter registration. So everybody at home, I need you to support Martha McSally running for the United States Senate. She is our ticket to keeping our Republican majority. And as you know, as the Senate goes, is how Donald Trump's next 4 years are going to go. Are we going to get more Supreme Court justices? Are we going to get more judgeships? I want to thank Right Side Broadcasting for having me today. This is such a special opportunity for me spending this month of October here in Pennsylvania, and I couldn't be more proud to be here with Liz. I couldn't be more proud to be here with Alex. And look, guys, behind us, let's take a moment to look at that crowd. They are almost, I would say, this is about 80 to 90% capacity. People are still coming in. You can feel that excitement, that energy in the air. Liz, what are your thoughts?
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott. I was about to.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alex. And I want to give a special shout out because I know that my mom and dad are watching Right Side Broadcasting right now. So Mom and Dad, thank you for all the support. My dad always picks me up from the airport for every single event that I do, so thank you, Dad. And I also wanted to say thank you to each of you. You have changed my life in ways that I can't even come to comprehend, and I just wanted to say thank you very much. Every single one of you that follows me, has retweeted me, has liked any of my tweets, thank you for giving me the platform that I have today. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about some early voting that's happening because I actually voted early voting and in person in Virginia. So if you're a Virginian, yes, you can vote early and do it also in person. And Texas early voting actually opened up today as well. So if you're a Texan, here's the cool thing about early voting. You can vote at any early voting center, no matter where you live, no matter what county that you're in, no matter what city that you're in. Texas actually makes it much easier to vote early in person. So let's get those votes locked in. Let's make sure that we are prepared to get out the vote on Election Day on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. And you don't have to spend hours in line when you could be knocking on doors and making phone calls and driving people to the polls and getting out the vote. So don't spend your time on Election Day stuck waiting in line. Vote early and in person. Now let's talk some data for a second. First, I'm going to give you some weary news, and then I'm going to give you some good news. So in Florida, you can actually track absentee voting by mail. They have a website that I'm going to post on my Twitter that actually shows you turnout for Democrats, Republicans, and NPAs, which stands for no party affiliation. Now, the news that I have to give to you is Republicans have only turned in, last I checked, about 450,000 absentee mail-in votes. The Democrats, on the other hand, have turned in over 900,000 absentee mail-in votes. So the Democrats in Florida are beating Republicans 2-1 in early voting. Now, is that a cause to concern? I don't believe so, because I know that our people do like to vote in person. However, just remember, the Democrats are very fired up. The Democrats are energized, and we need Florida. Florida is a part of our coalition to re-elect President Donald Trump. So again, right now, Democrats beating us 2-1 in absentee voting, early voting in Florida. Now, early voting, I believe, in person in Florida does open up on October 24th. So same thing goes for you. Virginia, Texas, Florida, when it opens up, vote in person early, lock in your vote. And what I'll do is when in-person voting starts in Florida, I'll start posting on my Twitter every single day, and I'll give you the updates. So that way, if you don't go to the website, you can go to my Twitter, which, by the way, is at Scott Presler. SCOTTPRES1SLER. And that way you can become abreast on what our numbers are like, if there's a deficit, how we are doing. It's so critically important that you get your votes locked in. Now, that was the kind of bad news. Let's go into good news for a second. I do a lot of listening and I do a lot of reading on Twitter. Now, in Wisconsin, which is a state that we won historically in 2016, that the Democrats need to win, we're doing really well in mailing in our absentee ballots in Wisconsin. And it's called the WOW counties. The WOW counties are critical to Donald Trump's coalition, especially in Waukesha. So if you are in Waukesha, Wisconsin, I want you to vote early, mail in that absentee ballot, because according to what I've seen, our numbers are so strong, so high, that if we keep up this record turnout, they said it will be mathematically impossible for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to win in Wisconsin. So get those votes out, Waukesha. And if you're in Kenosha, Wisconsin, I want you to really remember that this historically Democratic area, Donald Trump is going to fight for you. Donald Trump wants law and order. Donald Trump wants peace and prosperity. And while the Democrats are burning down your cities like they did in Kenosha, and I talked to the business owners, one of the business owners was a black beauty salon. How does it help the black community to burn down a black beauty salon, a community center that's meant to help the black community, that's meant to be there for black women? I just don't understand. And how does it help the Asian community and Hispanic community when these entrepreneurs, these business owners, had their community centers burned to rubble? So if you're in Kenosha, I'm asking you to take a chance. Take a chance on Donald Trump, because we are cleaning up our cities. We are rebuilding our cities while the Democrats tear them down. Let's also go to Texas for a second. There's an important seat, an important man, Ronnie Jackson, running for Congress. We all need to support Ronnie Jackson, who is supposed to be President Trump's healthcare professional, but the Democrats character assassinated him and tried to take him down. We need to support Ronnie Jackson. And in Dallas, I've met her personally. Her name is Genevieve Collins, running for Congress. I believe it's Texas' 32nd congressional district. This is a district that we can flip from blue to red, giving President Trump a Congress that he can work with, and flipping that House, taking away the gavel from Nancy Pelosi. So please, if you're in Dallas, support Genevieve Collins running for Congress. And in Houston, I used to live in League City. You didn't know that. I used to live in League City, right below Clear Lake, at the border of Galveston and Houston. There's a wonderful man. His name is Wesley Hunt, running for Texas Congress. I need you to support Wesley Hunt. He is a military veteran, and he is another opportunity to flip the seat from blue to red, giving President Trump that House he can work with. So Texas, you have several seats you can flip. California, as I told you, Southern California, San Diego, Orange County, and of course we had Mike Garcia in that district that we flipped from blue to red, defeating Christy Smith in California's 25th district. We need to support Mike Garcia to keep that seat red this November. Now, Nebraska is a very red state, very Republican. However, you have Nebraska's 2nd district, which is very purple. And this is a seat that the Democrats want to flip blue. So we all need to support Congressman Don Bacon for Congress. I actually was sitting on a plane and I happened to sit right next to Congressman Don Bacon. He was sitting in the back just like the rest of us. He's one of us. He wasn't sitting first class. He was flying coach. And I think that deserves our respect and admiration, that he doesn't think he's better than the American people. He's sitting right next to his constituents. So please support Congressman Don Bacon. And also, if you live in Omaha, if you live in Lincoln, Nebraska, I know organizers that I can connect you with. So I need your name, first and last, telephone, email, zip code. I will get you connected so you can make a difference in these next 21 days. Now, if you're at home and you're asking yourself, what can I do? I'm tired of sitting on the couch. I'm tired of just complaining and whining. I want to do something. Well, again, especially in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I need your help registering new voters. You have until October 19th. That is the cutoff, the deadline. So if you are not registered by October 19th in Pennsylvania, you will not be able to vote in the election. I also need your help knocking on doors. Now, I want to give you some top secret information. So the Joe Biden campaign, up until this point, had not been knocking on a single door. They had only been doing digital. They had only been doing mail. The Joe Biden campaign is scared, which is now in the final days of the campaign, they're door knocking. So when Joe Biden was criticizing Republicans for knocking on doors safely while we wear our masks and while we get out the vote by social distancing, they have now begun door knocking because they see we're registering voters so incredibly importantly by big numbers in Pennsylvania and North Carolina and Florida and Arizona that Joe Biden's campaign is scared, and that's why they're finally doing in-person voter contact. So going into these next 21 days, we have the momentum on our side. We have the numbers on our side. We have the voters on our side. And I'm asking you to vote in person early. Lock in your vote. Knock on doors. Make phone calls. Sign up with DonaldJTrump.com and become a volunteer. I wanted to thank again Right Side Broadcasting for having me. This has been an honor, especially here in Pennsylvania, one of the most important, critical swing states. I want to give a shout out again to, as a guest host, my co-host, Liz and Alex, and thank you, RSBN. And thank you, everyone at home. Again, you have changed my life, and I am honored to be sharing this journey with you as we go into re-electing President Donald Trump, our 45th president, on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. I'm going to pass this back to one of my co-hosts. Thank you so much for having me today at this chilly day here in Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Scott. Wonderful job, as always.
So I've done a little bit of a wardrobe change here The temperature is dropping drastically. And if you look behind me, you can see that this is a packed house. In fact, we have an overflow area over to the right where they're continuing to push people as they come in. They've given out their signs. They've given out, it looks like, red MAGA masks to people. I'd say we're about at 95 to maybe close to 100% capacity. Donald Trump is supposed to start around 7 o'clock, so he'll be coming in shortly. Now, I wanted to talk about the debate, the first debate that President Trump had against his opponent. And I know that RSBN is gaining a lot of traction, and I know that several members of the Trump family do follow me on Twitter. And I wanted to offer some very humble advice for the next time that President Trump goes up against Joe Biden. Because one thing really stuck with me during the debate. When Joe Biden was saying, if you have an empty chair at home, and I think President Trump, your response immediately should be, if you have an empty chair at home because Joe Biden voted for the Iraq war that sent your son or your daughter or your family member overseas, then that is Joe Biden's doing. And that's honestly one reason why I really love President Trump, because President Trump has promoted peace during his entire presidency, while Joe Biden and the Obama administration sent us to war, put more of our troops across seas, put more of our troops in Afghanistan. I love President Trump because he is the peace president, withdrawing our troops, bringing our troops home. And so if you're at home and you're a libertarian and you voted for Gary Johnson in 2016, I want you to remember that Senator Rand Paul is a proud supporter of President Trump and everything that he's doing with Bahrain, with the Emirates, with Israel. He is our peace president, and we don't need another 47-year-old career politician who's going to so boldly send our sons and daughters to war while we're not even taking care of our potholes. We're not even building up our infrastructure, while Baltimore is rotting and they don't even have AC units for our students in their schools. Why are we building up China and Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, and we aren't even building up our country? It's time for change. So vote for peace and Donald Trump, not war with Joe Biden. And let's also take it a step further. I want to talk for a second about Black Lives Matter, because I think this is actually Republicans' opportunity to show that while Democrats take advantage of the black community, Republicans are supporting HCBUs. Republicans made it with Donald Trump signing legislation, so we no longer have to ask for federal money for HCBUs. He's making sure that we have school choice for our children. And I worked at an elementary school. That was my first career, working at an elementary school. I've seen how our students are stuck in failing schools because of their zip codes, because of where they live, by no fault of their own. And ask yourself, why are Democrats against school choice? Why don't Democrats want children to be able to go to the best schools and have our brightest students? Ask yourself, why are they anti-choice? They say they're pro-choice, but Democrats are against our children having the best options to make sure that they have the best opportunity to succeed. So President Trump, in that next debate, I want you to talk about what you have done for the black community. I want you to talk about the HCBUs. I want you to talk about the First Step Act, giving our American citizens a second chance at life. And remember how Joe Biden talked about how those black women are stocking the shelves? Well, I think it's more appropriate to talk about how some of the children of those black women were more likely locked up because Joe Biden wrote the 1994 crime bill punishing the black community, separating black fathers from their children. How is it, Joe Biden, that you support the black community when you called them super predators, when you were a part of the reason why black fathers were separated from their children. President Trump is a part of the reason why black fathers are now being reunited with their children, why they are given a second chance at life with the First Step Act. Look at Alice Marie Johnson, who is locked up for life because of a non-violent drug offense. It's time that we give people a second chance at life, and that's why I support the Republican Party, because while Democrats are writing the bills that lock you up, Republicans are freeing you. Republicans are giving you a chance to live your best life and determine your own future. I also want to talk about Black Lives Matter, and that when somebody says to you, Black Lives Matter, you should answer to them, yes. Black lives do matter, and that's why I'm voting for President Donald Trump. Because while Democrats are burning down black cities, while Democrats are burning down black communities and black businesses, Republicans are building them up. Republicans are cleaning our cities like I've done in Baltimore and Houston and Chicago and Los Angeles and Miami and Kenosha. And I want people to remember that Republicans are going to give you life, liberty, and prosperity, while Democrats are going to judge you, to lock you up with their crime bills, to burn down your cities, to tell you that you are only good enough to stock a shelf. And Republicans are going to give you that opportunity to succeed. Now let's look at this crowd again. When it's this cold in Pennsylvania, 21 days before the election, do you guys think that these people are going to vote? I think that these people are going to vote. Now what we have to do, and I'm going to go talk to the crowd as soon as I'm done here hosting with Right Side Broadcasting, but I'm going to make sure these people are registered to vote. I brought forms. I'm ready to go. I mean, come on. I already know it's votespa.com. I already have those forms in my car ready to go. But these people that are going to brave the cold, that are going to come out on a weekday night, these are going to head to the polls. Put in contrast to Joe Biden's rallies, where they just had a reporter in Arizona, and she was actually really confused because nobody showed up for Joe Biden, and they weren't even aware that Joe Biden was having a rally in Arizona, while President Trump is getting thousands and thousands to show up in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. This isn't Philly. This isn't Erie. This isn't Pittsburgh. This isn't Altoona. This is Johnstown, and thousands are coming out. In fact, when I was driving here, it was actually quite a sight to see the amount of Trump signs, not only at houses, but at businesses. You see, Joe Biden voted for NAFTA, the North America Free Trade Agreement. Joe Biden sold out Pennsylvania. Joe Biden sold out our jobs. Joe Biden sold out our union workers. And I'm here to tell you, I've talked to union workers all across the country, from Michigan to Pennsylvania. And while the union bosses are telling people to vote Democrat, the union workers are voting for President Donald J. Trump. Because they know that when President Trump said he would renegotiate NAFTA, well, promises made, promises kept, he did with the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, which was lauded not only by Republicans, but also by Democrats. This was bipartisan legislation because President Donald Trump kept his promise. And while Joe Biden and his 47 years sold out our jobs, President Trump and his 47 months brought those jobs back, cut our corporate tax. Look, guys, think about this logically for a second. If China has a 25% corporate tax and America has a 35% corporate tax, where logically are businesses going to go? Businesses are going to leave us and go to China. What President Trump has done, not only as a businessman, but the commander-in-chief, is he has made America competitive again, that businesses are going to choose America. They are going to buy American, hire American. And let's talk about math for a second, because I think it's so important to really paint the picture of what this election means. Our country is only 244 years old. We've only been around for 244 years. Joe Biden has been a career politician for 47 years. Do the math. That's 19% of our country's history, our country's existence. Joe Biden has been in power for 1/5 of America's existence. What does he have to show for it other than voting for war? What does he have to show for it other than voting to send our jobs to other countries? What does he have to show for it other than calling the black community super predators? Joe Biden is wrong for America, and it hasn't taken 47 years for us to figure that out. And 47 months, we found out that we need another 4 years of President Donald Trump. If you want better trade deals, if you want to support the black community, not burn down black businesses, if you want school choice, if you want fewer taxes, if you want a secure border, if you want to support our police, not defund our police, if you want law and order, then you make a plan, you register to vote, and you vote for Donald Trump on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. Again, I already voted. I voted in person and early with my Trump shirt in Virginia. So if you live in Virginia, there is a statute that you can wear political apparel to the polls. Wear your Trump hat. Wear your Trump shirt. Wear your Trump shoes. Get your nails did Trump. And wear it proudly when you vote in person early in Virginia. Again, today, Texas, in-person early voting started again. Get out and vote for Ronnie Jackson. Get out and vote for Wesley Hunt. Get out and vote for Genevieve Collins. Get out and vote for John Cornyn for the United States Senate. We need that Senate to confirm Amy Coney Barrett. And let's talk about religion for a second, because as Americans, we have the First Amendment right to worship as we choose, with no judgment. We are free to worship as we please. The Democrats are attacking Amy Coney Barrett for being religious, for being a Christian, for being a Catholic. And I think that even one of the senators, or maybe it was Nancy Pelosi, that said that the dogma lives within her. That is anti-First Amendment. That is anti our religious freedom of choice. And quite frankly, her religion has nothing to do with how she is going to serve as the next Supreme Court justice, replacing the late, and we mean this with all due respect, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So when you see the Democrats and they are attacking Christianity, and when you see the Democrats and they are attacking her religion, I need you to push back. And I need every single one of you at home, you need to call your senators and you let them hear you loud and clear. Confirm Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court of the United States. And take it a step further. I want you to also let your senators know, and I mean this respectfully, let them know that you are a registered voter and you will not only be voting in 2020, but you are a lifelong voter. You're coming out in 2022. You're coming out in 2024. Remind them, these senators, that they work for you, not the other way around. You have the power. If you choose to hone that power. Guys, I'm a dog walker. I started off as a dog walker. And now I have close to 800,000 followers. Now I have a national platform. Now I'm using my voice to register voters, to clean up our cities, to support President Trump and the Republican Party. You never understand how truly powerful you are as one person. And that's what I want you to take away from today. That you sitting at home watching Right Side Broadcasting, you have the ability, if you choose, to transform our country for the better. Now, I know we're probably right now after 7 p.m., so I think that President Trump is probably running a little bit late, but he is coming, don't you worry. I hear that President Trump, even getting closer to the election, he may be doing upwards of 5 rallies a day. The man is in his 70s. Meanwhile, Joe Biden can't even do 1 rally a day, and President Trump is going to do 5. I want whatever this man is taking, but I think that we can all say that we are glad that President Trump has gotten safely over his COVID exposure, and that we are going to come out of this stronger than ever. We give our best wishes to Melania Trump, the Trump family, President Trump, as they go through this. And guys, just look at this crowd. I want to talk about the coalitions behind Donald Trump for a second. I've been doing politics for quite some time. I have never ever seen so many women supporting Donald Trump. I have never seen so many young people supporting Donald Trump. Actually, get this guys. So I was at Penn State College the other day. We did a nonpartisan voter registration drive, meaning I wasn't even pushing Donald Trump. We registered 18 students, and 13 of the 18 students at Penn State, a very liberal college, all chose Republican. Only 1 chose Democrat, and 4 chose no party affiliation. You know what that tells me? That tells me that our Republican brand is growing. Our Republican brand is popular. The Democrats, if they can't even get more than 1 out of 18 to register to vote, that tells me that the Democrat Party is no longer attractive to the youth. The youth have seen that Bernie Sanders sold them out. When Bernie said he was going to stand up for them, when Bernie said that he was going to support the youth, he sold out and supported Hillary Clinton. He sold out a second time and let the Democrats rig the election against them and against their votes. And again, I want you to think about the Democratic primary for a second. No matter who you supported, if you supported Klobuchar, if you supported Buttigieg, if you supported Tulsi Gabbard, when the Democrats before primaries endorsed Joe Biden, what they did is they disenfranchised you. What they did is they took away your vote from you. What they did is they said that you weren't good enough. And they said that they knew better. That's why they endorsed Joe Biden, because they thought that it was his best chance to win, and the Democrats cared more about winning than they cared about you. They cared more about winning than they cared about your votes being heard in the election. So when the Democrats talk about suppressing voters and disenfranchisement, actually, there is nothing democratic about the Democrat Party when they rig elections and they pick winners and they pick losers. Okay, back to Penn State for a second. Now, here's the thing. This school is all virtual. There's no in-person learning, and the students are angry. I want you to remember, if you're a student, if you're a mom, if you're a business owner, the Democrats shut you down. The Democrats took away your schools. The Democrats took away your businesses. The Democrats took away your freshman year at college. Never forget that Governor Newsom, Governor Whitmer, Governor Wolf, all Democrats, California, Michigan, Wisconsin, they are the reason why you aren't able to go to school. They have the power, but no, They believe it's better for you to stay at home than to get your education, than to get your business open. And think about single moms. Single moms who don't have the luxury that they are working multiple jobs, that they can't be at home with their child all the time. The Democrats are hurting single mothers. They are taking away their ability to work and to earn and to put food on the table. Never forget that it's the Democrats who shut you down. So when you vote this November, you vote Republican, because Republicans are going to open your businesses. Republicans are going to open our schools. Republicans are going to get us back to playing football and to playing sports and to playing Little League. Never forget that Republicans are about freedom, while Democrats are about dependence and taking away your freedom, taking away your ability to live your life. We believe, and this is actually very libertarian, Republicans believe you should be able to do whatever you want in your private life so long as you are not hurting anybody else. Whereas Democrats are about telling you what you can and cannot do. Now, guys, I've just been told Air Force One is coming in right now. Air Force One is rolling in. Let's pan this crowd. Let's look at what's going on. People are starting to get excited that President Trump is about to come in. And we are going to pass over back to Mr. Alex. We are so thankful to have me here at Right Side Broadcasting. Thank you guys for all the support, all the love. Thank you for supporting them financially. They are doing this all on their own. Thank you for supporting the work that I do. And back to my co-host. I've been so thrilled to be a guest host here today. Even though I've had to cover up this luxurious hair, it's just getting way too cold out here.
Thank you, Scott. It should be noted that we did not make you cover up that hair. We would never do that. You can
No, they didn't. No.
It just was
they
cold.
didn't tell me to. Liz wasn't in competition or anything.
Keep an eye out for Air Force One.
Right there.
You see it? Oh,
I see it. It's
all
coming
right.
in.
Can I get my fingers
So
up?
I'm going to wrap it up here with Scott, myself, and Liz. So we're going to wrap it up for you guys. We're going to say goodbye. So, Scott, do you have anything to say? This was your first rally. What did you think of it?
Well, this was the first time definitely reporting from the back. Oh my gosh. It's amazing just watching Air Force One come in, getting to see the full view of the crowd. And I do have to say, it was so nice seeing President Trump back on his game. I think we could all see tonight that he's coming out of this so strong, so confident, and you can tell he feels good. So it was such an honor to be here with Right Side Broadcasting tonight, and I hope I did okay, guys. This was my first time. Don't judge me too much.
No, you did
I
fine.
never thought I could talk so much without taking a break as much in my life, so
Oh, you did perfect. Well,
thank you.
could not have asked for a better guest host. You said you're at 800,000 Twitter followers. Let's get you to 1 million. Let's get you to 1 million.
That would be awesome. But the only reason is, guys, I want people to understand, though, what do all the likes, what do all the followers, what do all the retweets mean if we lose this November? The only thing that would help me is when I get to that 800,000, that you all bring 5 people to the polls. Because if I do my math correctly, 800,000 times 5 is 4 million new voters. So let's get out those voters, bring 5 people with you to the polls, and let's re-elect President Donald Trump.
Well, thank you very much. And I don't think true words can be spoken. You have done such an amazing thing. Not only have you started getting people registering to vote, you've cleaned up an entire city.
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot of people talk. A lot of people say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. You did it. President Trump said Baltimore's a mess that needs to be cleaned up. You volunteered. You said, okay. And you went down there and you did it. You got a team, you did it, and it stayed that way. You've cleaned up. You've done such an amazing thing. You're getting people to vote. You're getting people involved. People are learning a lot more about politics, their country. An amazing thing. Could you just tell us, what inspired you to do that?
Oh gosh, well, I mean, our president, and my dad is a retired Navy captain. I'm an Eagle Scout, so I guess I kind of have ingrained in me not only service, but the motto of stop talking, start doing. That's all I want, is if you see a problem, don't just articulate that problem, but come up with a solution to it. And that's kind of what I do. I saw a need for voter registration, so I said, okay, I'm gonna teach voter registration classes across the country, and I did. I saw a need to clean up our cities. I started organizing massive trash cleanups across our cities, and I did. So just know that the sky is the limit if you are determined to succeed and you stop talking and start doing.
Well, I love that. I think that's wonderful. Thank you so much for joining
My
us here today.
pleasure.
I hope we didn't scare you off too much. I hope we
No.
were somewhat welcoming, and I hope you enjoyed
I'll
it.
make you a deal. If President Trump comes back to Pennsylvania and you would like me to be a co-host again, I will gladly do it again with you guys.
Well, I think you did a fantastic job. I think the audience agrees. I think our CEO agrees. So, love to have you back with us again. I'm sure the president will be back. He needs to win this state, so I'm sure we'll see him several more times. But I think we're going to start wrapping things up here, say our goodbyes. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Thank you guys so much for supporting the work that I do, that Right Side Broadcasting does. And I'm coming to Bradford, Pennsylvania tomorrow, the 14th. On the 15th, I'll be in Erie, Pennsylvania. The 16th, I'll be in Slippery Rock. And the 17th through 19th, I am coming to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Big event on Saturday, lots of big events on Sunday, and top secret, I can't announce it yet, but I am coming to Minnesota. So all of you out there in Minnesota, I am coming. I haven't forgotten about you. And my Twitter again is @ScottPressler. And thank you to Right Side Broadcasting for having me.
Well, thank you very much for coming with us today. Well, my name is Alex.